Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Josh, and this right here is my beautiful 2022 Tesla Model Y Performance. In today's video, we're gonna do a really cool video. We're gonna install, I don't know if you guys know what we're installing today. We're gonna be installing a F1 style rear bumper. This is an exciting bumper because as you guys can tell, the Tesla Model Y bumper is just not that exciting in the rear. And I pride myself on having really cool cars. And I just think the bumper that I have right now just doesn't make any justice to it. So I've partnered today with EVbase to provide you guys with this really cool bumper so we can install it and see how it looks at night. This also has an F1 style light, which I have somewhere around here that we'll also install to make sure that everything is properly installed and everything is shiny and cool at night. Don't forget to check out EVbase's website. They're running a huge Black Friday discount, including this spoiler right here. So be sure to check them out. Use code C3S Garage for your unique discount code at checkout. Thank you guys for watching, and now let's get started. Now, for those eagle-eye viewers that have followed my channel for a while, you guys know that I had a similar F1 style spoiler a couple of months ago. However, that went away. I had some issues with it. The light was not working. I bought it from, I think, Amazon, and it just wasn't working properly. As you guys can tell, this is just your standard Model Y bumper. Even your Model 3 has a very similar bumper. I think it's just a little bit higher up the ground than this one. But this is exactly what you're looking at when you're driving. This is a car that does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, and yet you're still looking at this. This is terrible. So we're gonna go ahead and change that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So to start this, the first thing that we need to do is we're gonna go ahead and open the trunk. If your trunk does not look exactly like this, then you probably don't have a Tesla, and you probably won't be able to use the bumper that we're installing right now. So feel free to change the channel. The first thing that we must do is remove the back cover plate. This is a regular plastic plate with 4 different fasteners. These are metal clips, so just be careful when removing it. You have to pull up, and that's all you have to do. You could use a prying tool to remove this, but it's really not that difficult. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to remove this particular rivet or fastener that you have here. They're fairly easy. There's one on each side, so make sure you remove that and put it to the side. Then after you remove those two, you're going to go ahead and remove this part. It's fairly easy to remove it. You just have to put it to the side because we're gonna run the wire up until this tail light right here. You could do this on either or, but I prefer it on the right side. Don't know why. Next, we're gonna do some crafts with C3S Garage and Josh. This process is a bit tedious, but you must do it. EVbase does provide the 3M tape. However, I would suggest buying another pack of tape just to be sure. I like to prepare myself well before adding everything in, just simply because I don't want to have to redo this again. On this, I just want to say that I believe that I did an extremely good job, and I pride myself on the way I made the tape. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and clean Tesla's own bumper. We're gonna try to clean it as best as we can, because if we don't clean it and there's debris, the 3M tape will not stick correctly. If the rag that you're using does not come out like this, then you need to redo it. Next, we're gonna find our red light or our brake light, and I just want you guys to quickly examine the whole thing. You have 2 different portions for screws, and then you have a bigger gap for your cables. You have a red cable, you have a white cable, and you have a ground or black cable. The installation for this light is pretty straightforward, as you have the same exact holes in the bumper. You have 2 for screws, and then you have 1 to fit the cables through. The greatest part of all is that EVbase provides all the screws and materials needed for this job. So you have 2 little baggies, one with 3 screws or 4 if I'm not wrong, and then you have another one with more screws that are a little bit bigger for the bottom part of the bumper, and we'll get to that in a minute. And I'll never get tired of saying this, but please do take your time. Do not over tighten this, as this is just plastic. So please be careful. Just use common sense. Once we are done with those 2 screws, we can turn the bumper on to just give the first look at how it's going to look. This is giving me some serious Star Wars vibes. And here's the fun part. We're gonna go all the way to the bottom of the bumper. We're gonna remove the little plaque that you have there, and you're gonna see a tiny little hole which we will feed our cables through. If you fed the wire correctly, you should be able to pull the little cover gently apart, and you should be able to see your cable coming up. Once you have pulled a healthy amount of the cable out, you can go ahead and leave it there for now, as we're gonna do another crafts class with C3S Garage and Josh. This part is extremely tedious, as you have to remove the red tape cover from the tape to be able to put it onto the bumper. Once you are done, please do give a quick clap to yourself because you just became my master tape remover. But now what you have to do is you're gonna finish feeding the cable into the top of the car. You don't want the cable pinched in between. And you're gonna go ahead and align the bumper to the Tesla bumper. You want to be very careful with this because once the tape sticks, you don't want to just keep on sticking it and sticking it again because that will remove the glue from it. So you want to be as careful and precise with this particular portion. And my best advice for this is if you're doing it by yourself, make sure that you grab the bottom part and align it to the top part and then push forward to secure it. Once the bumper is taped in secure, you do not have to worry about overdoing it as you're gonna use EVbase's own screws to screw the bottom part and make sure that everything gets fully secured. The next thing you will do is you're gonna align the bumper correctly and pressure as hard as you can to the Tesla bumper. You're gonna use the lowest setting on the screwdriver and gently screw the screw into the bumper. You're gonna repeat this step through the gaps of the bumper. Once you are done, you're gonna go ahead and select the other two screws and put them on the edges of the bumper. This has a little guide on the bumper. You'll see a little indentation, so feel free to use that as your guidance to screw it in. Just on a quick note, I use two screws on each particular gap where the arrows are pointing right now, and I did that on each particular gap. So be sure to do it as well to make sure that it's fully secured. Now that we've made it this far, all we have to do is create a small connection to make sure that the tail light works perfectly with our new F1 style bumper light. We're going to gently start prying open the back panel. You could do this on the left side or the right side. It doesn't matter as long as you make the correct connection. The easy part to this is that there's only one switch to the tail light. So all you have to do is kind of wiggle your hand through it and find it. There's a small clip. You're going to disconnect it and pull out gently as it is a short cable. One particular thing that I want to note is that you should not have the cables that I have lingering around. This is because I had an F1 tail light before. And when I removed the previous bumper, I simply left those cables out for guidance to make sure that I know exactly where I'm going to plug in the new cables. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, you have three cables. You have a red one, you have a white, gray one, and a black one, which is your ground. You're going to connect the red one to the yellow cable on the Tesla tail light. You're going to connect the black one to the ground, which is the black one. And you're going to connect the gray one to the gray cable. So red goes to yellow, black goes to black, and gray goes to gray. Do keep in mind that EVbase does have the cables with a tip to put exactly into the tail light, so you don't have to make any actual cuts or anything. All you have to do is put them in the same exact holes that the current cables are on. I am simply choosing it to do it my way simply because I already had a previous connection and I don't feel like cutting more and doing more stuff. If you are choosing to make the cuts, such as what I'm doing right now, I do recommend using black tape or electrical tape, and I highly recommend using wire clips as this will prevent the cables from being exposed at any moment and it will make the job look a lot more clean. Before you complete everything, do not connect the taillight until your cables are fully secure. We're gonna do a quick test to see if the F1 light works, and if it does, then we can go ahead and continue closing everything. Once you're comfortable with your cables being fully secure, we're gonna go ahead and connect the taillight to test it out. And yes, this part is not the easiest one, so you do need to have skinny hands or some kind of prying tool to make sure that you're able to reach that portion. Once the light switch clicks in, you'll hear a click and then you can fasten it. I wouldn't recommend doing that just yet because if the taillight doesn't work, you're gonna have to disconnect it again. So just test the taillight out before you fully connect everything. Let's get inside the car and crank it up to see if it works. And as you can tell, there is a pulse, which is really good. I have to see how these lights actually work. So we're gonna just test out every single taillight to make sure that everything works as it should. And these LEDs do have multiple animations. As you can tell here, I'm braking and you can see how the strobe light kind of goes on and off. I think it's really, really cool to see that. And I'm looking forward to seeing this at night. And so that's how you install the F1 style bumper. From here on out, all you have to do is clean all the mess that we've made. You gotta put all the panels back together. You gotta put all the fasteners and the rivets back together. Do not forget any single one of them. It's happened to me before, and it's a freaking nightmare to figure out where it went. We're gonna try to tuck in the cable as best as we can. We don't wanna pinch it to anything. So make sure that the cable has free movement under the panel. Last but not least, let's go ahead and close our tailgate and see how everything looks together. And it's just insane to me how one little thing can change the whole style of the car. We went from having a regular Tesla Model Y performance to a really, really cool performance car. This bumper definitely looks more aggressive. It looks a little bit lower. It has that really cool light at night. It looks amazing. So I think this is a great product to have. EVbase definitely outdid themselves with the glossy black one because it does look a lot better. It makes the car look a little bit more updated. And I think it's just a great way to make your car a little bit more sportier. With that being said, don't forget that EVbase is running a huge discount sale using my discount code C3S Garage. And with that being said, I just simply wanted to thank you guys for watching my videos. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Thank you, EVbase, for sponsoring this video. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.